What's up, everybody? Jordan Stewart here from Vover. Thanks so much for tapping into the Vover original show. Just a reminder that if you want to drop your opinions about the episode or respond to the host and guests with your voice, go and download the Vover app wherever you get your apps. Vover, voice over everything. Enjoyed the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Grind with your hosts, Slimzilla and Yeti.
What's happening, world? Welcome to the show. Good morning, Yeti. I see you got power back in the building.
Yeah, we got power. I did lose a couple fish, but overall, we're doing good over here, man.
I hope you didn't flush them down the toilet. I know there's a couple of problems in them big lakes, bro. They got them monster goldfish out there.
Actually, it is a huge problem with some of the carp and stuff in some of those rivers. Yeah, I didn't do that. I put them nicely in the garbage can. Good, apparently, it's that bad to stay here that they commit suicide. But from their point of view, there was no power for 5 days, so they thought it was dark here for 5 days. I'd probably jump out too.
Yeah, bro. They thought you left the building, bro. They hibernated for the winter. So yeah, obviously there's the Premier League starting soon, August 14th. Hopefully, as always, every year, I'm hoping Chelsea go and win it. But the big deals that have been done are up north in Manchester with obviously Rafael Varane going to Manchester United from Real Madrid for 41 million, and Varane's one of them centre backs that's won it all for France, won the World Cup, obviously Champions League. So I think a lot of Man United defenders are going to be happy, especially him and Maguire, because that's probably going to be the pairing that's going to play back there. And obviously Luke Shaw playing left back and Bissaka playing right, which is a decent defense. And if you got De Gea in goal, they're going to be causing a lot of problems for sure. And then on the other side of town, on the blue side, you got talks of Jack Grealish maybe going to Man City for a transfer fee of 100 million. And when I say 100 million, that's just, like I said before, that's just to acquire the player, and then they have to do
club getting paid.
Yeah, then they have to do obviously their own personal deals on top of that.
So how are these other guys that are signing right now? Are they true just straight up free agents then?
Sometimes, yes, or sometimes they just if obviously there's a fee, that means they're paying a club, because normally what happens, your contract normally runs out July 31st. Mm-hmm. And obviously if you're a free agent, for a player back in the day, that used to be good, right? Because that means the club doesn't have to. It's like, say, Jack Grealish, the 100 million. If he was a free agent, the club wouldn't have to pay the 100 million. So
right,
he would get more of that actual money himself rather than going to the club. So a lot of players used to want to go on a free, but now it's all about security, because it's so fickle, right?
Yeah.
So as time's gone by, it's more of like, okay, I want more years. Like, give me the years, because it's all guaranteed. It's not like NFL where there's no.
Yes.
2 years are guaranteed.
So if Jack Grealish goes there, they're essentially trading him, and they're going to pay him the same contract, or they usually up the contract too?
No, it's basically, I'm paying Aston Villa 100 million to acquire Jack Grealish, and then Jack Grealish and Man City have to come to a deal. It might be, I think he's only 24, 25, so he might say, okay, I want a 5-year deal, getting 200 grand a week. And then Man City could be like, okay, we'll give you that, or we might give you 150 grand and 50 grand appearance every play. You know what I mean? Yeah. Stuff like that. So it's completely a different contract. The contract doesn't get shifted onto Man City.
So anytime a guy switches teams, they have to renegotiate.
It's a different contract. Yeah,
okay.
A complete different contract. And obviously the agents deal with all that kind of stuff.
So their free agency period is directly before they start playing. So there's not really like a warm-up period or nothing. Like you sign and you play, huh?
Yeah, I think the transfer window in the summer ends, I want to say August 31st, and then it doesn't open again until January 1st, and then that's for a month. So there's 2 transfer windows, one obviously in the summer, and then one in January. And normally the one in January, a lot of teams pay a premium because they need a player. They might need a striker to try. Like, someone might get injured, so they need a striker to kind of push them or help them win the league or whatever.
Right.
So normally that January window gets spicy, man. Like especially like last day. It's like in England you have Sky Sports and everyone's in the locker room watching who's getting the big money. But yeah, most of the time, the majority of the good transfers are in the summer because people have time, and obviously preseason starts July the 1st. But people that played in like the Euros and the Copa America, they normally get like a couple of weeks off. So then they get 2 weeks of preseason training, and they're back in training. They're back in playing games. Like, wow. So they don't get no breaks. Not like NFL where you're getting like 5-6 months off.
Yeah.
You know
It's
what I mean?
So interesting to me that you renegotiate anytime you switch a team. So you could sign a big deal in the summer and play, and then another team decides they really need you and they pay you even more to finish out the year.
That can happen. Like sometimes you go to a team, like even like say Jack Grealish would sign it. I think he just signed a new contract with Aston Villa, but even though he's signing because if he doesn't want to get injured or nothing, so he's getting that money. Worst case scenario, he's getting that money. But then now Man City said, okay, well, you had a obviously good season for Villa when you played in the Euros, which was another window for Man City to evaluate him. He done well. Okay, we're gonna offer him a contract, and then he's like, well, Aston Villa might say, well, we don't want to sell him, but ultimately, if the money's right, Aston Villa's they're gonna sell him, right? Because 100 million for a team like Villa is huge.
Yeah.
So for them, they might not want to, and it happens sometimes where a player wants to go, and the team don't want him to go, and then it just gets to a stage where the player's like, okay, then I'm just not going to do nothing. I'll play in that, but I'll cause any kind of friction, so you're gonna have to sell me.
Wow.
There's a lot of player power for sure.
Yeah. So the big negotiation part of your contract is the players want more years. They want the security.
Yep.
And the club is going to probably push for a higher number on the transfer fee, right? Is that what?
Yeah, the club that has the player, they're going to want obviously the most money. Say for instance, Chelsea are trying to buy Erling Haaland from Dortmund, and there's talks of like 150 million pounds that Chelsea want to buy him for, and Dortmund are saying no. But then at the end of next season, Haaland has a release clause in his contract for 70 million. So then Chelsea can buy him for reduced fee. But obviously Dortmund don't want to sell him, but Chelsea's saying, well, here, we know we can wait a year and get him for 70. How about you give him to us now and we'll give you 150 million?
Right.
But Dortmund, they don't need to sell him. And I think he's happy playing for Dortmund for another year and then maybe going to Chelsea after.
Gotcha. Man, there's a lot of different movements there, and
yep.
The player has so much more strength with the fully guaranteed contracts. That's
100%, because it's like in the NFL, right? You can just be traded without your say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in England that can't happen. Like a team could come in for me. Like say for instance, when I was at Leicester City, Watford came in for me, and I still had a year left on my contract at Leicester. Like I didn't have to go to Watford, but it's only because I want to. And at the time, I wasn't playing at Leicester. And the manager didn't get on that I wanted to try something new. But if I wanted to, I could just be like, well, I'm staying.
Interesting. So a lot of times in the NFL, when a player steps outside of it seems like America loves players that don't act like they're getting paid to play. They don't want us to be they don't want us to talk about our contracts in the media. It seems like we don't talk about a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Do players just get buried when they have those say they say, hey, I'm just not going to play now or whatever? Like, do they get buried in the media, or do they protect the player? Who do they blame more? And the players take it harder than anybody in the NFL. They, the team is always like, they love the team no matter what, it seems like.
Yeah, you know what fans are like, right? It's team first, player second.
Right.
But I think, especially the Villa fans, I would hope that they can see Jack Grealish is a great player, right? And his level is much bigger than Aston Villa. You know what I mean? So gotcha. Aston Villa, he's not going to play Champions League football. He's not going to compete to win the Premier League all those kind of things. So as a fan, or a fan that has any sense, can see, well, I understand why he's going Man City, because he can win things there, he can compete for things. But then you still have Villa fans that are like, oh, he should stay, he's a local boy. But I think because Jack Grealish, his personality, he always gives 100% when he plays. They have that admiration, be like, okay, we understand that he's good. But then some players, they're like, I can't believe he's going. He just wants money. He's greedy. So it all depends on the player, and it goes to that player profile, and especially the media in England. I feel like it's worse because say in America you have so many sports, and you don't really have like a daily newspaper that talks about it every day. Whereas in England, it's just you have rugby and
center all day.
So it's like just having NFL in the whole of America.
Yeah. Full attention on soccer.
Players are going to get cooked, bro.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Do you think that the everyday citizens and fans over in England and throughout Europe, do you think they understand the game more and understand the how everything works with the teams and everything more than they do football here? Because I don't think anybody understands football very well here, even some of the players. So
yeah, I think you touched on it there. I think football or soccer in England is easier to understand as like a business than the NFL, because like you said, there's players, then there's so many little things that go into contracts. It's not just like, okay, this is how much we're paying the team for the player, and this is how much he's going to get a week. That's it. That's ultimately what it boils down to. Whereas like in NFL, like you said, you have so many different things that are in the contracts.
Right. So
it's, for me, I feel like the fans see or feel that it's easier to understand and kind of get a gist of what's going on. And the more in depth, it's not like in the NFL or fans at NFL, they have like a basketball team, a baseball team. Whereas fans in England that watch soccer, it's just, that's the team. Like they don't care about cricket, don't care about rugby.
That's why they're so diehard, huh?
Yeah, it's just everyone's a diehard fan. Like Monday to Friday, you go work. Saturday is you go to the game as a family, males, females, kids, everybody.
So I think we've talked about this before. One of my favorite movies is Green Street Hooligans. You said it was more of a 90s thing, right?
Yeah, like 80s, 90s, like I feel like the way stadiums are built, and because before you'd have, like when I do Filbert Street as an example, when I was at Leicester City, our stadium was called Filbert Street, and literally you'd walk out the stadium and 20 yards across the street are houses. So back in the day, a lot of the stadiums were built around like housing areas.
Okay.
So everyone would walk to obviously the games, and you'd have pubs on the corner that obviously your local team go on, and I think that's how it started. But now you have stadiums more further out. They're still normally in the city centre, but they're a bit further out.
Okay.
And the way they have the fans, they're all separated, so it can never
it's hard to, because just for everybody watching, the Green Street Hooligans is basically about a gang that's affiliated with each team around the the soccer teams over in London and Europe.
Yep.
And they basically fight each other after the game.
Yeah, they used to like set up to meet up before the game, like have fights. Obviously, they're all pissed up, and then like just go to the game, like have a punch up, go to the game, and then obviously whoever loses probably want to fight again, and then just do the same thing again, bro. But now especially with like CCTV and all that kind of stuff, it's died down. Sometimes you still see like fights in the stadium and that, but it's not what it used to be, for sure. Have you been watching Ted Lasso?
I have.
You've been learning?
I swear all of my knowledge from those two, from the game of soccer, is Green Street Hooligans and Ted Lasso. So I'm getting all my my language coming from Ted Lasso with the pitch, meaning the field, and
exactly.
I mean, I've heard you say some of them before, but there's definitely a few that I was sitting there learning right with the guy.
It's crazy because what I love that show is it kind of touches on both sides, right? I think how it was written was like done really well, because as like an English person looking or watching it, you see like some of the things that they say, and obviously will make you laugh. But then you see kind of, because normally American humor is like I don't really find it that funny, but it seems like Ted Lasso has that like dry, almost like Ricky Gervais sense of humor. So it kind of, for me, it's a great show. And I think when I looked online, it said they're up for like 20 Emmys or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
Give it to them, man. I love the show, and I think it's hilarious. And just to learn a few things about soccer is great for me. Even though,
hey, we're gonna call it football. Yeah.
You're right. I gotta stop with that for sure.
I'm the same, bro. Because like I said, when I first came over and I was calling it football, and everyone was like, "Oh, you play for like the Niners or Raiders." I'm like, well, have you seen the size of it? I don't think I last long on any of them teams.
Hey, that's a compliment I'm asking, though.
Unless I'm the kicker.
You're like, oh, I must look kind of jacked today.
Yeah, exactly. And I got a little bicep, but that's about it.
Could you kick a ball? How far do you think you kick a field goal?
You know, I've never tried. I've always wanted to try, but I've just never tried.
I can't believe you and Marquette didn't have like a punt or kick. Marquette probably can't kick anyway, but.
Yeah, I know, because remember that time when he came out to the Quakes and he was booming balls, but I was trying to kick it, but I didn't know the technique, because obviously the special technique had to kick it and that.
Yeah,
so
I'm sure.
Maybe if I'd like done a little camp, like a 6-week camp, I might be able to.
Yeah,
I reckon I'll be decent.
I would imagine. I mean, it's just kicking a ball. It's just understanding how the whole thing works to get it through the uprights, right?
Exactly, and it's on like a little idea as well. So
I think it's a lot like golf, really.
Yeah, just the mechanics. Just finding out the
mechanics and then judging the wind. I don't know if you ever watch some of these guys that got to play in like Cleveland. And
Buffalo.
Oh yeah, the wind is just whipping right to left or swirling all over the place. Actually, I think the problem is more that it's swirling, and you might one play it might swing the ball 10 yards to the left, and then the next time he kicks it goes 10 yards to the right. I can't imagine trying to. Like, can you imagine stepping up and having a game-winning field goal and the ball is getting pushed 10 yards either way?
And the thing in the back of your mind, knowing if I miss this, I'm getting cut.
Right.
That's the problem with kickers, bro. If you miss, you're getting cut.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like a striker missing a penalty a couple of times, and then the team saying, "Okay, well, you're gonna get cut. We're gonna release you." That just adds a whole leap of pressure.
It's wild, man. There's like a few positions in football that if you do well, it's extremely easy. And that's punter, kicker, and long snapper. Like, can you imagine being an NFL player and all you do is throw a ball between your legs back to the punter?
Oh,
it's an amazing job. But at the same time, they know how many rotations that they're going to throw it back there to, where the laces end up in the same exact time every time. And they have to be able to block rushers, and they have to do a lot of things. And if you can't do them all and you don't get that ball back there perfect, I saw a guy that threw it over the punter's head two times.
You're done. You're done, bro. Did he get another team afterwards?
No, he was an older guy. He played a long time. I don't think he was probably all right with it. But yeah, you do it twice, out of there. So at least I was always a little bit like, hey man, that sounds like a great job, but that pressure and how perfect you have to be is rough, because like I said, they know the amount of rotations they're going to get. They know how to put it on that punter's left hip or right hip, wherever he likes it. And the same thing with punting. You got to be able to hang it up there and put it on a dot. I mean, I think punting and kicking, obviously, it's a huge talent, but you got to be perfect, you know?
Yeah, bro. I see how much, like I used to obviously watch Marquette and how he could like boon the ball. And even I tried to like catch one of them balls, man.
Oh, yeah.
No chance.
Yeah, they know how to knuckle it. They know how to make it spin down over end over end. It's sort of doing like a bit of a sideways thing. And it's amazing. And the guy's catching it too. Like, that's sort of another specialty that's, can you imagine me running at you full speed and you're going to try to catch this ball and run?
No, that's why I'm just doing whatever the sign is. I'm not catching it. That's the sign I'm doing.
fair catch every time.
Yeah, exactly. Fair catch, bro. I'm waving to my mom or someone in the stadium, bro, because I ain't trying to catch that.
I'm telling you, because if you're not paying attention, I'm gonna knock your head off in that situation.
Exactly. I'm not trying to get hit.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to play the sport anyway. I don't care how much money you give me. I stick to soccer, bro. I stick to soccer.
For sure.
Cool. Hey, always a pleasure. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.
You too, man.
See you later, bro.
Later.
Peace.
Vover.